Hi, I'm Kara, mom of 3, pediatric sleep expert, certified parenting coach, and founder of Well Rested Mama. Welcome to the Unswaddled podcast. Tune in every other week as we chat about baby and toddler sleep solutions, overcoming parenting challenges, and all things messy motherhood. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Well Rested Mama Unswaddled. Today, we're going to talk about the one thing that actually drives you to drink: holiday travel.
I was thinking a lot of things at that moment.
When it comes to holiday travel and parenting and marriage, we actually started right away, I would say. So Carter entered the story in 2015, and we never traveled for holidays since then, right?
Correct.
Well, Christmas, the big one, right? So once I had Carter, I had the conversation with my mom, who would be the one that we traveled to because his family lives locally near us. And I just said to her, like, I am not packing up Santa. I'm not doing that. You're more than welcome to come to us, but like not coming to you. And the reason I did that was because like I knew if I did it one time, that was like setting the bar for the rest of my life. And I just didn't want that to happen. So I knew that this was just my way. This was my ticket. And not, to be honest, they didn't expect it. They didn't ask for it. But I internally felt like I needed to like lay down the law so that it just was never a problem. Because before that, we alternated holidays, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're
We do
dating. We
Thanksgiving
like this year we're going to you, the next year we're going to you, because it didn't matter, right? Because like when you don't have kids, it didn't matter. But when you have kids, people start to get a little crazy and it begins to matter. So always a welcome invitation, but we personally did not travel like Christmas time with kids. But we do travel for Thanksgiving. And I think that was our biggest learning curve in the sense of like...
That was the most adventurous. Lots of driving, lots of flying on both ends.
Yeah. Biggest thing when it comes to travel is really figuring out like how you're going to get there, right? So this is a preference, obviously. Driving a long distance with kids sounds completely miserable.
Never been a fan.
Never been a fan. We personally tend to fly. Obviously, that is not the scenario for everybody. So first off is choosing your mode of transportation. Which way are you going? Are you flying or are you driving, right? Like priorities. What can you afford? What sounds more miserable? What sounds more attainable for you? Everybody's different. We genuinely have friends who love driving.
Oh, for sure.
And we have people who think like flying's the best thing ever. We have people who think flying is absolutely insane. Like they don't want to inconvenience other people, where the driving people like to be adventurous and they like to stop and they like to like...
I think the people we know that like driving like lose all expectation of getting there at a certain time and a certain day and just kind of flow. You know?
Like the
we're
plan...
going to stop. We're going to do this. We're going to just enjoy ourselves.
Correct. So expectations are super low. But to be honest, they should be low no matter how you're getting there, okay? I will never forget, and I don't know if you remember this, Carter was 6 or 8 weeks old. We were flying to Houston. Do you remember this?
Yeah,
and
Carter's first flight.
he was screaming, and I was trying to nurse him to get him to stop. And the lady next to me like rolled her eyes and was like, ugh. You remember that?
No. It's probably like a mom moment.
Okay. And I remember that really stressing me out. And I remember that making me feel like I will never fly with a baby again because that gave me anxiety. But once I like kind of took a step back and I was like, no, the problem wasn't me. The problem wasn't my baby. It was her. Like she was the problem. I kind of realized like, this is okay. Everybody, not everybody, but most people have been in your shoes. So when we're flying, the bar is just, you want it so low that you can only go up.
Oh, for sure. But also now we try to sit near people that might need help because we've been in those shoes.
We do. That's psychotic. Most people would not do that though.
You know.
So keep your expectations low right off the bat, okay? Now, once you've gotten that out of the way and you're like, we're going to do this, it's the planning period. So always trying to plan the best you can around the schedule, which doesn't always happen, but it's possible. So when you're always booking flights, we kind of like...
I say the things we always do is always try to get one of the first flights of the day. Like the worst thing you could be is in an airport, baby needs a nap, and there's a 2-hour delay because it's 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. and something happened throughout the day.
Yes.
Early flights are always less chance of something happening. So that's been always our priority when we're booking.
With that earlier flight, you have an opportunity to add in a nap, do an early bedtime. You have more control once you're there. Maybe they'll fall asleep in the car once you get to the airport and you're driving somewhere. So that kind of gives you that flexibility to like control the second half of the day when you've tortured yourself the first half of the day, right? Now, that's obviously with flying. That can go both ways. I have had situations where I have felt that the first nap was better at home, okay? And then the timing lined up for that afternoon flight. But I do feel like as the years have progressed and travel has progressed, that scenario isn't always working because it's gotten worse,
yes.
Right? Like back when Carter was a baby, you showed up for your flight and like there were no problems. Now it's like you don't know what's going to happen. And there's always the opportunity for a nap on the plane. So this depends on age, okay? So like a really little tiny baby is obviously easier to get to sleep on the plane, okay? You have a crazy 3-year-old, don't count on it, right? Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of walking around. There's a lot of yelling. There's a lot of like things happening. So kind of like try to, again, low expectations, but is a nap on the plane possible? Yes. Does it depend on your baby? Also, yes. And fun fact, you cannot wear your sleeping baby on the plane. They won't let you have them in the carrier. I learned that the hard way. So,
really?
Yeah, they made me unbuckle Blakely. I don't think you were flying with me. They made me, she was passed out in the carrier, and I was like doing this guy in the plane, like, please, Lord, just let her stay asleep. And they made me undo her because it's a safety concern. They can't be attached to on takeoff. Ultimately, figure out, is your kid a napper on the go? Are they not? And then that's where you can kind of say, like, there's zero chance that they're going to fall asleep on this plane. So let's get that earliest flight, get out of there so that they can either do a car nap or get to your destination and do a nap or an early bedtime. Now for the drivers. I drove to North Carolina without Jeff. Don't ask me why. And, to be honest, it wasn't that bad. Okay.
You might be the only person that has 9 throw-ups on one trip, and it's like, oh, it's not that bad.
We got good at it. So this is what happened. And this is a good parenting tip if you have a thrower-upper. I used a portable potty. I had the portable potty with the bags that go on the potty, and we just puked, tied it up. She handed her a wipe, and we just kept going. That was professional. I nailed it.
It sounds so fun.
It wasn't fun. It was every single hour. She was just sick, and I was like, I'm never going to make it if I keep stopping, or I'm going to get murdered. So we were just going to keep throwing up in the toilet, and we kept going. Another thing that I did was I wrapped them presents. Remember that?
I do.
So I had a 10-hour drive ahead of me on the map. So with 3 kids, that was like a 15-hour drive. I went to the dollar store, maybe Target, like cheap things. I wrapped every single thing individually, and every 30 minutes they got to unwrap something. And that lasted. The entertainment level was
top notch.
I nailed it with that one. There was wrapping paper all over my car, tissue paper everywhere, but you know what? They were occupied.
You made it, and you made it back.
I did. I made it. On the way back was way better. Driving, a little bit harder, but it's possible to add in some tricks, add in some stops. Again, low expectations. I didn't care. I went into it knowing this is just going to take me forever. I didn't panic. I got gas one time, got food one time. So overall, I think it went really well, besides the throwing up part.
Your way back, you crushed it. I mean, you made it back in just over 11 hours. So
yeah, but the way back, I also did no iPads because I think the looking down was the problem. So I did no iPads. I did the laptop on my center console, played the movie for everyone.
That was the first time you've ever listened to a book?
Yep, from start to finish.
I think the last time you listened to a book also?
Colleen Hoover, It Starts With Us.
Ends With Us?
I did both. To kind of summarize that, travel is going to be a complete shit show. Good luck. It doesn't matter. Once you get to your destination.
Just get there.
Yeah, just get there. The people around you most likely don't care, or they're going to help you. And then you'll graduate to be parents like us who just surround yourself with small babies so that we can offer to help.
How many people do you think you creeped out on a plane and be like, can I hold your baby?
Yeah, they always say no. One day I'm going to get a yes.
One day. Someone is going to be desperate enough.
I think so too. The odds are in my favor. Now you've made it to your destination. You're with all your favorite people. There's not going to be any drama. And you're going to keep your baby on a schedule. But you're probably not. So what you're going to do is really focus on flexibility. If you try to like do that picture perfect schedule, you are going to be miserable. You've arrived. You either have to do a nap, early bedtime. That's where you're focusing on the wake windows. What happened in that travel? Did they fall asleep? Did they not? You have to use your knowledge on wake windows and how to adjust them to avoid that overtiredness. Otherwise, bedtime's going to be terrible. Okay. So don't be afraid to add in an extra nap, even if that means bedtime's going to be later that night. It's okay. When you wake up in the morning, you're at your location, you're not traveling anymore, you can get back on schedule. And this also goes with like the whole time you're there. You always want to focus on like, what is that day going to look like? Is your husband going to try to make you do a family hike? Or are you going to go out to lunch?
I think you told someone last year that you did a hike every year, and that's not true.
Yes, it is.
No.
I go from the bottom to the top with you every year.
So we're doing it this year?
I did it last year.
I think that was the first
and the
time.
year before that.
I don't think that's true.
So you're going to protect one nap. If your baby's only on one nap, you got to protect that nap, unfortunately. You can switch up the time of that nap, but don't just like go cold turkey, no naps the whole trip. Okay, that's going to be a nightmare. Little one is on more than one nap. Figure out what nap works best for you to do at your location. Okay, hotel, Airbnb, wherever you are. You want to do one nap at home. The rest can be on the go. The rest can be shorter than normal. You can adjust things. You can do an early bedtime, but that one of those naps ideally is a restorative nap so that you're kind of buying you some time and getting through that day without them being overtired. I cannot emphasize enough, don't be afraid of the early bedtime. I promise it's not going to affect the morning. You're allowed to put them to bed early. Whether someone is arguing with you to do that or not, you are in charge and you are allowed to pick up your baby and put them in bed and be like, sorry, she'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be okay. Because guess who's going to suffer? Not grandma. No.
Grandma never suffers.
Only you in the middle of the night or at 5 a.m. because they went to bed overtired. Which leads me to family boundaries. This is always fun.
We've made some good boundaries.
Yeah, we for sure have. But when it comes to that family dynamic of the comments are flowing of, you know, let's say your baby's crying and it's your mom doesn't feed you, or, oh, you must be hungry, or whatever. Never, ever acknowledging that it's sleep.
You might be tired.
Yeah, like never. It's never that. Or they're crying when you're trying to put them down and the reason that they're crying is because they're not tired. That's always a good one too. Whatever comments are coming your way, you have to just in one ear out the other, because again, it's not going to affect them in the middle of the night. It's only going to affect you. So you know what's best for your baby. Do not be afraid to remove them from a situation. Or also, like, side note, you are also able to kind of use it to your advantage. So what I mean by that is an infant, a newborn, right, who is sleeping constantly throughout the day. That is your prime opportunity to let them hold them during those sleeping times. It is okay for them to have contact naps on vacation or at, you know, their grandma's house or Aunt Susie's house, wherever you are. If that baby's sleeping, who cares? Okay. Don't fight that scenario too much. But when it comes to, you know, eating, I feel like there's a lot of boundaries that need to be put into place. I mean, we definitely went through that. And sleeping, I think that those are like the top two. So don't be afraid to, like, you know, we personally, I know that, like, obviously we do battle our kids when it comes to food to some extent, but we are not the parents that are like, that plate has to be completely empty or you're going to be punished if you don't eat every single thing on your plate. We don't do that. I don't see the point in doing that.
I feel like we started to, and then we're like, well, this is a bad rabbit hole.
Yeah, it was just dumb.
Like, why are we doing this?
Stupid. Eat your protein. I don't care what else happens. Whatever. Like,
and again, look, Blakely's evolved so much in the last
yeah, she really has. But there's no punishment per se for not like finishing every single thing that's on your plate, which I do think is a generational thing. So that is a boundary that a lot of people run into when you're with grandparents or older people. You'll hear them say, well, if you don't eat everything on your plate, you're not getting X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, 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 no. We don't. And you can say it nicely. We actually don't do that in our house, but thank you so much. And like, just like diffuse the situation, because your kid is going to be like, ah! Like, and you have to kind of take control of that, because you have to stand up for your child when you do something every single day and all of a sudden they're on vacation, and now all of a sudden another rule is thrown at them that they've never had before. Like, that's not going to go over well for anybody. And then you're going to end up fighting with the person that said it. So nicely just be like, oh, thank you so much, but we actually just make sure we only eat protein or until they're full, or however you handle it. Make sure you handle it the same way on vacation. Sleep wise, running into comments about that, again, everything can be handled nicely. It doesn't have to cause an argument. Your baby's schedule. That if a nap was only 40 minutes, but it's usually an hour and a half, that they have to go down sooner. Like, how to manipulate those things. So just make sure you're doing that. If you want to have them help or get them involved, that's great. If you don't have to. And I also think it's important to have a conversation with your spouse as well, just going into it, like knowing that, if you hear so-and-so say something, or you guys have to be on the same team, right? Like, there's nothing worse than someone who is trying to do something and then a grandparent says something along the lines of like, oh, they're not tired, just let them stay up. And then he's like, yeah, let them stay up. I'm like, I'll kill you.
I would never say that.
I'm just saying that's a lot of people would, right? Because they're just like, like hanging out, whatever. And I'm like, no. You're not allowed to like turn on me like that. So I think that's a really big part too, is just making sure you're going into it like, same team. This is how we're going to do it.
Even if you don't fully agree.
That's fine too. You have to treat the family like the kids, like, if one person says something,
you just gotta own it.
Now I gotta go with this. Like, oh, she just took away dessert for a month, and here we are. Now, when it comes to where you're sleeping, this is always a fun one, because I feel like you never know what you're walking into. There's either situations where you're all in one room, which is Jeff's favorite.
Love it.
And then there's situations where maybe you have 2 rooms and you got to figure out how to make it work. That's always fun too. Personally, well, obviously kids with multiples, right? Like, you have a lot more gambling going on. We typically would always keep the more like sensitive, longer sleeping. What are some adjectives to describe Caleb's sleeping habits?
Lots of movement.
Like, yeah, like he just has a lot going on. So like, he's not going to do well in the room with the other 2. He would designate his own bedtime. He'd be like, I'm going. And then he would need to rock himself to sleep. It'd have to be pitch black, like white noise. Like, anyone talking to him is going to piss him off. So
he's particular.
He needed his space. So he was always the one that slept in our room, because he had his own room for bedtime. We would sneak in. He wouldn't make a peep. No problems. Whereas the other 2 were more annoying in a different way, in the sense of like, they didn't want to go to bed, or they'd chit chat and laugh and like do all that. Whereas
it's the only time they like each other.
Yeah, only time. And then if that was happening while Caleb was sleeping, he would be raging. Like, he is just like,
when he's ready.
He's ready. He wants to sleep, and you better not mess with him while he's sleeping. So we typically would separate that way. If we were all in the same room, we'd put him down first, so we could like stagger bedtimes as an option. But all in all, we would just try to do our best to make sure that the sleep environment was set up, whether that was a slumber pod, blackout curtains. I would bring the sleep out with us. If I didn't have a sleep out, we'd tape black trash bags.
We've done a lot of
things. You can use tin foil. I mean, there's so many options like that are temporary that you could do depending on where you're going. Like, if you're going to a parent's house or somewhere you go a lot, like, we would have stuff there for us. But if you're not, and it's a hotel or Airbnb situation, that's where you want to make sure you're bringing things. White noise. We personally bring like a portable speaker.
Yes.
And then Jeff will hook it up to his phone, or an extra phone actually, right?
Yeah,
or an
usually.
iPad, and play the white noise, 12-hour white noise or whatever it is on YouTube. That always seemed to work better for us, just because outside of an environment. It's way louder than
a normal.
Yeah, it's louder, which like when you're in an environment where it's holiday, like there's people everywhere, right? Like they're loud or they're
I don't know if everybody has holidays like your family, babe.
okay, well, if you have holidays like my family, you're a little bit louder, having more fun, talking, maybe some dancing. So you want to make sure the kids are situated, and the louder speakers work better for us. A slumber pod, I would always use the little sound machines and put it in the slumber pod, like under the pack and play, which I feel like helped because the sound was like coming from the ground underneath them. But just making sure that, you have what you need, you're traveling with what you need. And then if you need to like keep it simple, like I said, there's so many things that you could do that are just like throwaway options, like the trash bags, the tin foil, which is obnoxious, but like you got to do what you got to do.
Even the $6 toddler air mattresses,
Yes. So that's a good point, because the toddler air mattresses, I post them on Instagram a ton, but they're like, sometimes they're $6. So we just Amazon them to where we're going, and you can throw them away or keep them there. That's somewhere that you go frequently. But I mean, $6 is worth your sanity of just making sure the kid has their own bed, especially if you're in a house with a bunch of people, or cousins are sharing a room or anything.
I mean, I bet we've ordered 30 of those over the last.
I bet we have. Yeah, I bet I have 7 in this house. Which, fun fact, 3 of them put together is a king sheet, which is a really fun like sleepover or movie night situation. And all of those things that we just kind of mentioned or talked about that work best for us, we'll put in the description. And if I have a coupon code, I'll put that there for you too. Bedtime can get a little bit
wonky.
Wonky is a good word. Just because a lot of times, especially with older kids, we're pushing the limits a little bit with timing, which is fine. If they're older, who cares? Like, I'm always on board with that. If they're younger, timing is important in the sense of like, what's your night going to look like? What's the morning going to look like? But regardless of the route that you take, okay, whether you're playing a little gamble or you're being a strict, schedule follower, their routine is important, right? So a lot of times I see that people will mess with the routine on vacation. We've seen it in real
I feel
life.
like you've had a ton of clients from repeat clients, sleep trained
from travel.
Yes. And come back and it's like, uh-oh.
Right. So what happens is they're traveling and they're having so much fun, and they like sleep with their kid, or they rock them to sleep, or they're like, we're on vacation, they must need a bottle to go to bed. And everything just comes crashing down. And that's what we don't want to happen. We want you to be fun. We want you to enjoy yourselves. But when it comes to that bedtime and that independent sleep, you have to keep it going. Otherwise, it's going to be just bad news for everybody.
It's not fun coming home.
No, because when you get home, guess what? That version of you that rocked them to sleep or laid with them is now the version that lives with them at home. They don't care where you are. That's the new life that they're living, and it's going to be hard to break them of that, and you're going to have to end up sleep training, and it's going to be this whole thing. We see it all the time. So as much as, we want you to be flexible and accommodating to them, you have to continue that independent sleep. And even if there's a little bit of protest, right? Like maybe there's a slumber pod happening and they're like, having a little bit of a moment, they're allowed to have a moment, okay? They're overstimulated. They're on vacation. Things are not normal and what they're used to. So it's normal that they're kind of like fighting you a little bit, but don't be afraid to just put them down, walk away, vibe it out, see what happens. If you have to be, implement a little bit of sleep training during that time, you can, or you can just leave them be, like give them a little bit of space. They need time to wind down. And during this time, I want you to remember that they are independent sleepers. They do this every single night. And when you have people in your ear saying whatever they're saying because your little one is losing their mind at bedtime, you just got to stick to your guns, because they're not going home with you. They're not going to lay with the little one when they are back at home. They're not going to be the one sleep training. So just like in one ear, out the other, back to those boundaries. You know what's best. You know that your little one goes to sleep without you every single night. They can do it there too. They just might need a little bit more time.
Correct.
Big picture is you're going to go on vacation. You're going to have fun doing it. You're going to enjoy yourself.
They're called family trips.
We do call them family trips, not vacations. A vacation is when Jeff takes me somewhere amazing and I don't have children yelling at me. A family trip is the complete opposite. They're still fun.
They're still fun.
They're still enjoyable. They're just different. We want you going into it with those expectations that are pretty much on the ground so that there's only one way to go. That's up. And we want you making sure that you are being flexible. You are taking control of what you can control, but you're letting go of what you cannot. Ultimately, having a good trip, enjoying your family, letting go of all the stress, because trying to control every single thing that is happening is going to bring you anxiety and it's going to ruin your trip. And that's not going to be fun for anyone, especially your husband. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We are happy to answer them. Follow us over on Instagram. We're constantly posting about travel tips, especially coming up with holidays. We will be navigating that with you guys. Make sure that you enjoy yourselves and you have a wonderful holiday season. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Give this video a like if you found it helpful or share with a friend. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll see you next time.